So Caleb, thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate it. We met each other at Landscape Summit in Louisville, and we got to hang out with you the weekend prior and do some, what was it, the golf simulator that was like half broken. So
Yeah, we're at Will's Airbnb. We were using this golf sim. Yeah, it was half broken. Funny enough, you guys didn't see it. I don't think we came back. I think on like the last day that I was there, Wednesday. We were just hanging out, and the golf ball was broken in half.
Dang, you got Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
in there.
Tiger Woods. Holy crap.
Man, that's crazy. But no, it was good meeting you. I learned a little bit about your business, and we had the pleasure of going to dinner with you and Will and his wife the last night before we all went home, and we got to kind of just share some more information. But for everybody who hasn't got to know you, why don't you share a little bit about your story, why you got started into lawn care, where you're at currently in your company, and then things that you're doing well in your business and things that you need help with going forward.
Yeah, sure. So I started about 2.5 years ago. I was working at Amazon, and I had seen this, like, I didn't like working at Amazon. It's just basic work stuff. I wasn't happy at all.
Mm-hmm.
I always had in my mind that I had this kind of entrepreneurial spirit, I guess you would say. And I had seen this video on YouTube. I was just scrolling, and I saw, like, the thumbnail was like, make $500 a day mowing lawns. And I was like, what? Like, $5 a day? Like, that's perfect. I can go buy a mower right now and get all this equipment and go start. So, funny enough, I had a Nissan Maxima. That's all I had. So I went and bought my mower, $75, and I think I got a brand new string trimmer and a brand new blower, and like I think some gas cans I might have already had. Threw them all in the trunk of my car and went and where was it? I mowed this guy's lawn. I forgot how I got the customer, but I think I'd gotten him through Facebook or something, just making a post like, hey, I'm starting my business. I'm in college. It's this much per cut. It's like $30, I think. I charged this guy like $30. I cleaned up his leaves, mowed his lawn, all these things. But I did it, and I got paid, and it blew my mind again. Because I was like, wow, you can make money doing this.
Yeah.
So I was hooked immediately. So I quit my job like a week in, literally from
That's quick.
Starting the lawn care thing, and it just went off. I just started, I was all in. So posted on Facebook, and I got a ton of clients my first year. I think I got like 60 clients my first year. So now I'm years in, and I've got 2 trucks, 1 employee, and we're reaching about 200,000 in annual revenue. And my goal with our company, Spruce Lawn Care, is to have multiple locations, possibly tens, maybe even hundreds of locations all over, maybe Texas, United States. That's my overall goal.
Nice. And then are you trying to franchise that out or just have like corporately owned locations?
So I thought about that. Speaking to Will Kelly, by the way, if you guys are not familiar, he does YouTube videos as well. He's a good friend of mine, but he has 2 locations, and I had a conversation with him, a lengthy conversation about this, and I kind of changed my mind. I like the franchise idea because, Mike Andes, which is another YouTuber, is doing that, but I looked at the numbers, and I just like the idea of having corporately owned locations. It makes more sense to me.
For sure. And then the process, because we're in the process, we basically have a second location now, but it's going to be full force going into next year. And our goal is 12 locations in 10 years, corporately owned. We don't want to go more than 12. I don't know why 12 and not 8 or 10. It's kind of, we just stuck on 12. It'll be interesting. I'm excited to kind of stay in contact with you throughout that process, because I'm curious what strategies you deploy going from one location to, let's say you said possibly hundreds of locations. it's going to be very I'm going to be very interested in how you handle that process and kind of getting past 20 locations, how you plan on doing that, what type of strategies you plan on deploying to get to there. So I'll be praying for you and your company, man, and I'm excited to see you, shoot for the moon. If you
Yeah.
shoot for 100 locations and you end up with 50, although it's a failed goal, it's still a successful venture. So why not aim high?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's the exact thing. I don't know if you've listened to the 10x rule by
Yeah,
Grant
yeah,
Cardone.
I read a little bit of
Yeah,
it.
I kind of follow that,
Yeah.
So,
And then what's your timeline? So like let's say if you want to get to 10 locations as like your 50-yard target, what's your timeline for let's say 10 locations?
so in locations, uh, good question. I would say 10 locations within maybe the next 5, 8 years. I would say I hope to be able to open up our second location 2025. So about maybe a year and a half from now, I
Mm-hmm.
plan on opening the second because I know next year I'm going to be able to hit the revenue goal that I want. I'm pretty confident that I can. We're going to hit a revenue goal, which is around 500,000 next year, and I want to switch the current location to profit mode and start taking that cash and putting it into a different location by 2025. So if that all works out, of course, and I start growing and growing and doing all the right things, I think I should be able to open up 10 within maybe just 5 to 8 years. I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, that's cool. If I could give you one piece of advice, and this is something that I learned in the Army, is to backwards plan. So if your goal is 10 locations and you're saying 8 years, you should backwards plan. So put yourself at 8 years and say, well, if I open up 2 locations a year, that would put us at X amount of years. Okay, what do I need to do to get to 2 locations per year? What's going to be the startup cost? What's going to be my initial marketing budget for the first spring rush for that location? Let's say equipment costs and marketing budget and everything, so that you can just operate debt free on that location. Let's just say that's 100,000. Well, that's pretty steep, but let's go worst case scenario 100,000. Then you have to ask yourself, how am I going to get to 100,000 of liquid cash to deploy for that location, and then backwards plan from there. So it's like my current location. If we're doing 500,000, I need to be net 20% profitable to even open a location, but then that depletes my funds all the way down to zero. So are you willing to do that? If not, then kind of figure, are you going to use financing to open up a truck or location, or are you going to use outside investors? Things that are probably not recommended, but there's certainly options. So if I could give you one
Right.
piece of advice, would be to backwards plan. Um, because if I ask you if your goal is hundreds of locations, you have to have like, I was telling Jalen, I interviewed him last week, and I'm just like, you have to have your 50-yard target, because you'll never get to your 300-yard target if you don't like work through certain obstacles. So I don't know, just backwards plan would be my biggest piece of advice, and if you have that and if you can stick to that plan, then God willing, everything will work out.
Sure. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm kind of just
Hmm.
spitballing
Yeah.
what I'm right now, but absolutely, I totally agree with you. Um, I don't know. I think I could use debt. I would be okay with that. I'm more risky.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm not. I'm conservative with my money, but I'm willing to take risks
Sure.
to get to where I be.
Yeah.
So if I need to, if that's what it takes to be able to grow tens, hundreds of locations, I would be willing to maybe take some debt on and some risk. But
Absolutely, and that's kind of what we did for our current location. We started off and we financed trucks, we financed mowers. Granted, mowers were at 0%, but still financed nonetheless. And
yeah,
so I'm not sitting here trying to sit on like a hill and be like, you gotta go debt free, because we're not debt free at our current location. But ideally, that'd be the way to do it.
yeah, and same with us too. It's both of our trucks are actually financed
Yeah.
right now, but everything else I don't have any debt on it. So it's
Cool.
just the trucks.
Cool. And then you reached out, I believe, a few nights ago, you sent me a text, and you're kind of looking for helping fill in your schedule for the winter. It's kind of coming back to the core of this phone call. Is you're trying to fill up your schedule for the winter?
Yep.
All right, cool. So before we get into it, let's provide some context.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So right now, just I want to be able to hit my revenue goals each week. I have been the past few weeks. So our current revenue goal with me and my employee is to hit around 4,200 a week. So it was higher back then, but now it's being slow, a bit lower than what I want. But about around $4,200 is where I want to be at. The past few weeks we've been hitting that almost. This week has been really low. So it's kind of concerning.
Yeah.
And my close ratio on my landscaping quotes just feels low.
And what's that close ratio?
I don't have the number right now, but I would say generally around 30 to 40%. I think it is what it was.
Okay. And then what does your follow-up process look like? So you send out an estimate. Do you have like a dialed-in follow-up process on these estimates within Service
So
Autopilot?
So there's nothing dialed in. There's no like automations telling me, hey, make a call on this day or anything. I just follow up every couple days on I go through my list, like I think just 2 to 3 days a week. I'll follow up on my client and I'll just call each and every single one of them individually. So just calling them, hey, Miss Jones, this is Caleb with Spruce Lawn Care. Giving you guys a call about that quote I sent, kind of want to see where you guys are at, or see if you guys had any questions about that. Maybe we can get the ball rolling on this for you guys.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. With the estimates that I send, I usually call them right as I create the estimate, and I go over it with them over the phone and try to just right there on the spot.
So talk to me about what that looks like. So I have one of your estimates here. We'll talk about the one with Kayla. So, and I don't have to share these screens if you don't want to. And I should have asked if I could even say the customer's name. I don't want to say anything that you're uncomfortable with, but cat's already out of the bag. So we'll talk about Kayla. So let's imagine you're creating her flower bed or estimate. Is this a current lawn mowing customer of yours?
So not a current one. We've gotten quotes for her before, I believe in the past, but she never accepted. We had actually gotten that quote through a one-click estimate.
Okay. And so you've never completed work for her in the past?
Nope, she's just a lead.
And then how many estimates, I know you can't look at it because you're on your phone right now, but how many estimates would you say that you've sent her in the past?
I think just one, I would say.
Okay. And the reason I ask that is if she's constantly saying, hey, I want pricing or an estimate, but she's never accepting, that most likely indicates that she doesn't see the value or that there's some sort of a price issue or concern with her. She clearly wants the services, so what's stopping her from saying yes? It's probably the price. And then price is never an objection. It's the value perceived with that price. So what are you doing to increase your value would be a question I would have you just sit on and kind of think about, as throughout this off season. But if she's only ever reached out once, and let's say it's for this one-click estimate, and she's saying no, you did call her when you created this estimate?
Yes, but she never picked up.
Okay. So let's imagine that she did pick up. What would that phone call look like, and how would you have guided her to saying yes?
Yeah, good question. So I would just call her, hey, Caleb, this is Caleb with Spruce Lawn Care. How's it going? Calling you. Got that quote finished up for you guys. Wanted to go over it with you real quick, see if you had a minute. Boom, she's okay with it. Okay, yeah, so this is the quote. This is all the line items. I go over each detail in it just so she understands it, and I say, okay, do you understand this? Make sure that she understands each line item and what's included, and then I go over the prices with her. But I do kind of sell kind of what we are too. I'm like, okay, we're able to fit it in the schedule pretty quickly. Sometimes I don't say it all the time, but sometimes we'll say quality is guaranteed. I talk about like the mulch retaining moisture and just giving your flower beds a nice vibrant color, especially good before Thanksgiving if you guys have family coming over. Or we pull all them out by hand. We don't string trim them down so they don't come back as quickly. I kind of give some benefits in between while I'm talking, as much as I can. So then I give her the prices, give the Kayla the prices, and I think my biggest objection right now is price. That's my biggest, and I don't know how to get around that. I know some, I know how to get around some objections, like, hey, I'm not sure what my husband would think about this. Let me ask him. Or uh, there's another one that I know kind of well, but the price is my hardest one to get around.
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's like a default setting for all consumers, you and me included, right? If we let's admit, like, what's one of your hobbies, for example?
Jim,
Okay, so let's say that you're
or
trying
fishing.
fishing, perfect. So let's say you're trying to go buy like a Zebco or something, and you go to Dick's Sporting Goods or Bass Pro Shop, and they're trying to sell you this fishing pole because you're going there to buy a fishing pole. They're trying to sell you this fishing pole, and you're not overly sold on like the value. You went there for a Zebco or whatever you're trying to buy, but they're trying to sell you this brand new thing that you've never used before. You're not sold on the value, and then so what do you tell that salesman? You're like, oh, not interested. Well, why are you not interested? Well, just pricing, or I was expecting something different. Our default setting is to say it's too expensive because for inexperienced salespeople, and everybody who owns a business is a salesperson at its core. For inexperienced salespeople, pricing is a hard objection to get over because it almost comes across like you are being intruding, or you could be considered offensive, or you're offending them by like, you can't afford this kind of thing. Um, so I typically try to find the core on why they're saying price. It's actual pricing. I'm 98% of stats are made up on the spot, so I'm gonna say like 80% of the time pricing is not the actual reason. So if they say, hey, it's thanks for sending this estimate over. It's a little bit pricey. I want to get my husband's opinion on it. Um, so can I like call you back? If you ever let them hang up the phone and call you, you're never gonna get in contact with them again, and it will for sure will be a no when they call you back because it's not an actual pricing thing. If Kayla saw the value in this service, and if she needed it bad enough, she would say yes right then. She doesn't need to talk to her husband because her husband's gonna be like, I don't care, just like do it or not. I would say, hey, I completely get it. That's a good partnership. I would talk to my spouse as well. But I'll tell you what, Kayla, we actually had this spot come available on Thursday, and our schedule is filling up quick. And I noticed we sent you this estimate 2 weeks ago, and this was in response to your one-click estimate. So out of respect to you and your time, let me just go ahead and reserve this, or say I'll just go ahead and reserve this on our schedule so that this spot is reserved for you and you only. Now, please go talk to your husband because I would do the exact same thing if I were in your shoes. But at least when you come back with me, your spot is already reserved. And then she'll be like, okay, cool. Yeah, sounds great. And then you basically just say like, hey, we're going to keep this on the schedule. We'll show up on Thursday to take care of this job. If you don't want us to come on Thursday after you talk with your husband, give us a call and we'll, zero cancellation fee, no worries at all. We'll take you off our schedule.
Okay. So my question is, Sam, whenever it comes to that day, but they haven't contacted you, I'm assuming you guys wouldn't come, right, to the property?
See, that's kind of the tricky thing. It just depends on your goal because I would typically try to call them the day before and just say, hey, Kayla, as a reminder, we're going to show up tomorrow morning and get your flower beds looking great. Don't ask, like, is that okay? Just be like, is brown mulch or black mulch? Which do you prefer? Or give them a yes or yes question. So it's like, say, hey, Kayla, as a reminder, we're going to be there tomorrow morning to take care of your flower bed cleanup. If you have an option on mulch color, you can say, do you prefer brown or black? And then if she says black, she's expecting you to come in the morning. If she says brown, she's expecting you to come in the morning. Or you can say, which time
Okay.
works better for you tomorrow morning? Does 9 work better or 11 work better? And it's like a yes or a yes. So she has to like kind of like climb over the fence to say no to you because you're not giving her an option to say no. She has to like take the initiative to say no. So from
Okay.
a psychology standpoint, she already has her spot reserved on her schedule and you have a waiting list. And so that's already like an objection that you've allowed her to overcome. And she's on the schedule. And now it's like, hey, what time? 9 or 11. And then if she responds with a time, that's verbal confirmation that she's expecting you to be there tomorrow morning.
Gotcha.
So, and
Okay.
then if
Yeah, I like that. I think.
go ahead.
Sorry.
You're okay.
It's cutting up
No.
kind of bad. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh man, that's
it kind of cuts up, and then yeah. Yeah, I like that. The only thing is, I think that would work with the current client because with us, we only do a card on file. Um, I do require anything to be on the schedule to have a card on file. So I think that would maybe be my issue. Are you like doing this for only current clients? Like this kind of sale?
no. You mean in that same example we just had, you can say, hey, I'm gonna reserve your spot on our schedule just because it is filling up really quick, and if we don't get you on our schedule this Thursday, we can't service you for another month. So I would just, out of respect to you, Kayla, and you and your husband, I'm going to reserve your spot on our schedule for this Thursday so that nobody else can take it. Only thing I'm going to need is just your card on file, and then that will reserve your spot on schedule. We're not going to charge your card until after the service is completed. But we just need a card on file to reserve your schedule.
Okay. I like what you said there, though, saying, hey, like we won't have another spot open for another month. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that creates even more scarcity. What I do the scarcity closed as well, where I say, hey, we've only got a couple spots left on our schedule right now. The spots do fill up pretty quickly. I could just go and just reserve the spot for you on this day, and then kind of just let me know like a day before if you guys want to go ahead and get that rolling. That's what I say.
Yeah, I wouldn't even. What you said there is great, but you're still, and this sounds like slimy and sketchy, and it's not what I'm trying to get across at all, but you're giving the customer too much power. As a salesperson, you want to have the power, you want to have the control over the circumstance. So by you saying, just let us know the day prior if you want us to do it or not, one of three things is going to happen. They're going to let you know that, yes, that sounds great, be there tomorrow. That's rare. The other two is they're not going to tell you at all, and then you're like the morning of, you're like, do I go? Do I not go? I don't want to get yelled at. Or they will tell you no. So if you take those three options, 66% chance that you're just going to be left with a no anyways. And that's because you're giving them the power. Now, if you can rephrase that by saying, hey,
Okay.
on Wednesday, if you don't let us know by Wednesday, the day prior to the service, that you don't want us to be there, we're just going to assume that, you talked with your husband, everything sounds great. And then you'll be there. The crystal ball, or like crystal ball is not the right word, but I guess what I'm trying to say is the magic to this is you need to follow up this phone call with an email about everything you said so it's in writing. So, hey, Kayla, thanks for taking my phone call. As confirmation, we've reserved your spot on our schedule for Thursday. Just once again, if the talk with your husband doesn't go well, let us know by Wednesday that you don't want us to be there, and we won't come. Otherwise, we'll take that as confirmation that you want us to show up. That's in writing. So then they can't come back to you and say, you never talked about that. So you want everything to be in writing.
Okay. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, so always assume that you want the power in the conversation, and then always come from a place of sincerity where you're doing what's best for the customer. Because you didn't force an estimate on this person. They reached out to you wanting an estimate. So you're doing them a service by making room in your schedule and giving them a fair price and doing an awesome job on that service.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I think if you have like full conviction in your service too, if like they didn't close, they didn't go with you, you'd be doing them a disservice.
100%.
I guess if you yeah, if you could think about it from that lens, I guess, like, I don't know, that would really help. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to tell them, hey, trust me, we're the best company. Because typically, if somebody has to say, you can trust me, you probably can't trust them, right? So just by your confidence and your tone, and just by the overall professionalism that you have over this phone call, that's going to let them know, like, hey, you're not just a chuck in a truck, and you show up in a nice uniform. You probably have a decaled truck, and everything's going to be smooth sailing. Another route you can take is for pricing. Do you have any wiggle, like for project work? What's your like net profit margin? Would you say?
I've never done the math.
Okay, so let's imagine that your net profit on a project work, let's just say, is like at your size of company, let's say 40%. Would you be willing to offer a 10% discount to get them on the schedule?
I could. Funny enough, I actually just did a one-click estimate where I offered a 10% discount for anybody that accepted the estimate before the 20th of this month.
Yeah.
So I should do that. And I went ahead and sent that out. It says it clearly. Hey, if you accept this quote before the 20th, we'll give you 10% off your quote. But I haven't had any luck. I guess maybe because I wasn't selling it in the phone calls. But also, these clients that I'm showing you, I called them initially. I haven't followed up yet. I think I sent these out 2 days ago or yesterday.
Okay.
So I haven't followed up, and I think when I follow up, I'll go over that with them if there is the 10%, just to remind them. I think that'll help.
Okay, and on like the one-click estimates, I wouldn't. I mean, that's an approach of saying like, hey, if you accept this by this date, you get a 10% discount. That's fine and all, but I kind of want to surprise them with a discount, right? Because if whatever you're sending them in the email, whether that's a 10% discount or not, they're just going to see the price. So you almost need to get them with that second price. So if you can say, hey, for this flower bed cleanup, it's going to be $500 or whatever you say in that email. After 2 days, you give them a call and say, hey, Kayla, we did have a spot open on Thursday, and I'm really trying to fill up our schedule as fast as possible. I noticed that you're one of the people that I thought your flower bed would look the best, to be quite frank with you. So to fill this spot on schedule, we can give you a 10% discount, just to kind of help you out and make sure that we can get our schedule filled. But we would need to do it for you on this Thursday, or else somebody will take that spot. But make sure you put that 10% discount at the front of that conversation, because you don't want it, like Mike was saying in the conference, you don't want to say, hey, we have like limited availability and our schedule fills up quick, and they say no, like, well, what about a 10% discount? They're like, well, your schedule must not be filling up that quick if you have to offer me a discount. So I would put it at I'd put it at the front of the conversation and just say, hey, Caleb, I've looked at your quote, and I think your flower bed is just going to look absolutely amazing. Something just opened up on Thursday. I would love to offer you a 10% discount, but we do need to get you scheduled right now over the phone for this Thursday. All we need is your card on file, and we'll get everything taken care of. And she'll say yes or no. And if she says no, just try to see like why she is saying no. And just be like, are you no longer interested in the service? Is this Thursday not going to work best for you? Because we do have availability in 3 weeks if that works better for you. Is it the timeline? Is it price? Like, what is it? And just try to figure that out and then overcome that objection. We can try to call one of your customers over the phone if you want and try to get them scheduled. So out of the
Let's
5.
Hey, sorry, I was going to ask to go back to take a couple steps back, but how do I calculate a net profit margin on my landscape estimates? So currently, just for clarification and context, we charge $70 per man hour for our landscaping and mowing quotes. It's the same hourly rate. I do charge dump fees just depending on how it looks. So it's kind of a range, but usually between $15 and $50 um, is our range of dump fees.
Okay.
And then I also, so for mulch, so we offer three quotes typically for our landscaping. So it's the flower bed cleanup, mulch installation, monthly flower bed maintenance. Um, those are the three services I typically quote.
Okay.
On the mulch, I charge 50% on the cost of material for the mulch. So right now, I think mulch is $4.60 a bag. So I charge no, yeah, $6.90 a bag to the
Okay.
customer, and then I add a cost of labor on top of that material cost. Yeah,
So you can see you can see my screen here.
I can see it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So if you want to find, you want to take your total expenses minus material expenses divided by um, labor hours. And let's say that this is for like October. So let's say this number you get is, let's just say $55 for an example. Well, it's probably going to be less since you have a lower hourly rate, but let's just say it's $55. So for Kayla's job, for example, how many budgeted hours do you have if she accepts the flower bed and mulch replenishment? How many budgeted hours do you have scheduled for that?
I think it was
So
two budgeted hours.
two total budgeted hours.
Correct.
Okay. So if you have two budgeted hours multiplied by your break-even point, you'll have $110 in total labor expenses. And then so we'll kind of shimmy this down. So we'll go cost, price.
So, quick question: is the break-even point, is that the $55 that you got?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then the total price that you would have for this job would be 140 because of your man hour rate. And then, or no, I'm tripping. What was the total price for this one again? It
I think
was
it's about $200.
more than that. 260 plus
Well,
160.
don't include the flower bed maintenance.
Yeah. So you're at 425 for flower bed cleanup and mulch replenishment. Ish.
425 for
So
Kayla's?
Yep. So flower bed cleanup was 259 and some change, and then mulch install was 165. So around 425. Unless I'm looking at the wrong one. This is
I think that's the wrong one because Kayla's was pretty small.
all right. Let me go back.
Yeah, I know I budget on the one.
Oh yeah, for Caleb's I was tripping. So we got like 75. So 205.
Okay.
And then how many bags of mulch for hers?
I think it was 8 bags, possibly.
8. And then it's $4.60 total, or you have to add sales tax, or do you have your reseller's permit?
So I have the resale. So the total I charge per bag is $6.90
Okay. And then it costs you $4.60 per
in
bag.
material cost.
So
Yeah, it cost me $6.60.
let's say 37 for mulch. Any other expenses for besides labor and mulch for your flower bed cleanup and mulch install? Like any spray or preen or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Uh,
So right here, you have $147 in total costs, and then you have. Do you have like a credit card processing fee?
yeah, I think it's about 3.5%.
3.5%, and then you charge sales tax on top of this.
Correct.
Okay, so we have to add sales tax, and we have to deduct credit card processing fees. So, what do you know your sales tax percentage?
8.25%.
So this comes out to $221.91, and then we'll kind of just do this a little bit. Minus your credit card processing fees. So you're at 214. And then you have to pay back that sales tax. This is the sales tax collected. And you want to do that after you take your credit card processing fees out, because your credit card processing fees are added after sales tax was accepted. So you want to take out your sales tax after you take out your credit card processing fees.
Sure.
This puts you at 198.24. And then I'm running out of space here, but you would just subtract this number from that. So it's like roughly a 25% net profit. And there's probably a more dialed in way to do this. But we are taking all of your expenses with your labor hours to get some sort of a break even point. And we're guessing on the 55, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
So it could be a little bit different, but that's kind of how you'd get like your rough ballpark net profit. Obviously, you'd have to look at all of your expenses and check this out, but it's a good rule of thumb on how to get your net on your flower bed jobs. So then this is without a discount. So if you were to say, hey, I want to give you 10% discount, the cost of mulch stays the same, the price of labor stays the same, it's just the price to the customer. So you're at like 184, you're probably around like 170 or something. So appreciate it, man. So you're probably at like 170. So if you're willing to profit, this is after you pay yourself, after expenses and everything. If you're willing to profit $30 on a job, you could drop that down to 10% of a discount, and then try to get more jobs on the schedule. I know you mentioned your weekly revenue goal of 4,200. What are you doing this week, and then what are you projected for next week?
So this week was $2,600.
Okay.
And next week will probably be the same.
All right. And do you have any reoccurring revenue this time of year?
That's what most of this week and next week is the recurring revenue, which actually I think next week will be a lot higher because we're able to fit in our the fertilizer weed control clients that we have. So I should be able to fit in quite a few of those. So I could probably get it closer to 3,800, 4,000 next week just with the fertilizer weed control. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I did add some jobs Friday. I think we're about 2,900 now this week. And it's all recurring. I think we've had one project this week.
Okay. And then how many reoccurring lawn mowing customers are you doing per week throughout the off season?
I think right now I wish I could see, but I think it's around 50 to 60 a week. I think I might be wrong.
Yeah, I would hope that you're wrong because if $600 is your weekly revenue off of reoccurring, that puts your average visit at $12 with 50 a
Yeah,
week.
I'm not sure. Can't see it right now, but
Yeah, all good.
um,
What is your model for this off season? Like, you probably had weekly or biweekly customers all year. Are you transitioning them to once a month now in the off season?
so I'm kind of following the biweekly winter services that was recommended to me by Will Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
So starting December 1st and switching all of our clients to our biweekly winter services, which includes us coming out where trimming shrubs, pulling up any weeds, grass, cleaning up any leaves, pruning small trees, once a month mowing for the same price as what they have now. I'm charging them the weekly price, and we're going to spend the same amount of time that we do on the mowing at the property to do these different things.
Okay, good. So you have a total of 50 customers, is what you're saying?
No, I have 111
111,
customers.
and they're all doing your off season?
I would probably say half of them will most likely want to pause until March 1st. I would assume.
Okay.
I wouldn't say all of them will stick around for that.
Okay, so
I
let
know Will that 60% of his clients stuck with it, but he was doing so last year he was doing monthly winter services,
mm,
and he would do the biweekly. So I'm trying that, seeing uh, how biweekly works, and I'm also offering once a month mow if a client would like doesn't want to do the biweekly winter services. I'll push them off to a monthly mow instead.
I got you. Yeah, so we're doing something similar. So we had like 470 customers right before we started switching over to winter frequency, and like six of them have canceled. So whatever that is, so we're like 95+% are staying with us throughout the winter. We have a different business model down here where we only do bi-weekly. We do like 5% weekly customers, but we prefer bi-weekly. And when we go to winter, we increase the price by 30%, and they only get one service a month. So we word it to where it's ultimately a savings for them on a per cut pricing, and then we just do once a month. And then if their lawn does not need to be mowed, we would just focus our attention on like pulling weeds, bush trimming, stuff like that. But we would only stay there for the amount of time that's budgeted for lawn mowing. So we kind of word that in the email, and that seemed to work really well. When we sent this winter email out, we also told them, by sticking with us throughout the winter, this reserves your place on our schedule for the spring, which gets pretty filled up. And then
Okay.
we kind of word it like once our schedule is filled up in the spring, we do have to raise prices to new customers. And if you're with us throughout the winter, you're not impacted by that price increase. Now, granted, that doesn't mean they
Okay.
don't get a price increase, but they don't get like the drastic price increase that we have to do to like kill our close ratio, because we just can't take on a whole lot of customers in the spring. So that's a next year problem for you because you kind of already pushed this out with this year, and it sounds like this year that should work for you. So let's say that 50 customers are with you throughout the um, throughout the off season. So you should have like 25 cuts. Yeah, 25 cuts a
Okay.
week, and then you can try to upsell
We're
them.
also we're still spraying. We're also still doing our monthly maintenances for flower beds. Just letting you know,
Yeah,
we'll still be doing other things too, not
cool,
just the biweekly winter services.
cool, cool. I got you. Um, Sweet. Well, I'm gonna try to give one of your customers a call and see if we can get them closed, and then if they don't answer, I'll try to call the next one. If you're cool with it.
Yeah, no, let's do it. I want to hear how this goes. I guess just come from my company, I guess, Sam with Spruce Lawn Care.
Do they? So give me some background. So do they have like a professional relationship with you? Like they know you?
Um, I would say Frank probably knows me the best because he
Okay.
was one. He was a pretty. He was one of our earlier clients, uh, but the other ones probably not. Not too. No, no close really
Yeah. So let's
professional.
not call Frank then, because I don't want to say Sam with Spruce Lawn Care and be like, what the heck, Caleb? Um. So since we've been picking on Kayla this past hour, let's give her a call. I don't
Sure.
think I can see her number, so if you can text it to me, I know you have to pause your camera, but if you can text me her number, text me the service date, because I don't know if I'm seeing it here.
The service date, like whenever the quote closes out.
Yeah, like when if she were to approve this, does she know when she'll be serviced for?
Oh,
Like, can she see that?
she can't see that. I'd have to tell her over the phone, but I can tell you what our earliest availability looks like.
Yeah, yeah, and that also might be something you want to add to your estimates is giving them a service date, like a visual service date.
Hmm. So how would that? So you're saying like add that in myself manually to
Yeah,
each quote?
that's what we do for all of our estimates. Because if they approve the quote, you're gonna have to go in and find the service date for them anyways. But if you can just do that
Hmm.
during the estimate really quick, then it saves your admin time on the back end of you're gonna have to spend that time one way or the other. Granted, you're gonna be doing it a lot more for quotes because not everybody is gonna accept them. But it
Sure.
helps with your close rate, I'd have to imagine, because they can like visually see like, oh shoot, I can get service tomorrow. Sweet, let me accept it. But if they're like, I might not get service for a month. There's no pressure on them to approve it if they have no clue when they're
Oh,
getting service. It makes it more real for them. So this is Kayla's number that you sent me.
yeah. So and also the earliest availability that we have is actually this coming Monday
Okay,
to be able to put them on. Yeah,
and
this coming
then
Monday.
for hers, it's just a flower bed cleanup, mulch install, and then potentially like a monthly flower bed maintenance.
Correct.
And then in terms of a discount, are we willing to give her a 10% or no?
So yeah, and that was included in the estimate that was sent her. She actually clicked that the button for the one click.
So
So yeah, she should rip that off.
so these prices reflect a 10% discount.
Not currently, no. They
Okay.
they are only they're the price before the discount.
Okay. So I got to give her the price after. All right. And then um, this she responded with a one-click estimate in response to saying, "Hey, this is a 10% discount thing." That was the one she responded to.
Correct.
And then before I give her a call, what was like the gist of the verbiage in that email?
Um. So the subject was like get an estimate from us or clean up your beds before Thanksgiving and get 10% off, something like that. The verbiage was get your property ready for Thanksgiving before the family comes over. Here are the benefits of getting a cleanup. List them out, and then at the bottom, it shows the button. It says click here to get an estimate. We'll send it to you.
Cool. And then if she approves over the phone right now, I would just say that we're going to, like, how does that process look? So you need a card on file. Obviously, I can't do that for you right now. If she says
Yeah.
yeah, if
So
she,
Sam, I would just say if she says yes, just say okay, great. We'll call you back and take your card down as soon as possible. Okay.
cool,
That's what I would say.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what she says. Now I'm gonna get phone calls to my own cell phone from Caleb. So if I ever move up to the Dallas area, I'm taking her as a customer.
You're taking my clients, man.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll sign an NDA.
Wow.
Let's see.
Hey, watch out. I might move down to Austin and take your clients.
Dude, please don't.
Please leave your message.
All right, no Kayla. Let's try Chris. Same thing with Chris on the Thanksgiving 10% email.
Yeah, all these quotes are the same.
All right.
Let me this number over to. Yeah, she didn't answer either. I tried. So Chris, I did actually get on the phone with, and her objection or complaint was that. So she said she needs to talk to her husband. I said, okay. Is there anything your husband might say no to? That was what I told her, and she said, I think he would just say no to the price. And I don't know how to respond to that. And she said that her husband is currently in the hospital. I guess he had a pretty bad accident, so they're just worried about price right now.
Okay.
Because her husband is older.
Do you know what happened to him?
I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess
not
it's-
sure. I know that I've met him before. He's a lot older. He's an older gentleman.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what happened.
Okay. And then with price being sensitive and with them going through something, would you be willing to do like another 5% or something just to, because you have an opportunity right now to like build more trust and more credibility with them if you're like, hey dude, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. Like it would be awesome for your husband to come home to like, a property that looks great. We'd be willing, normally
Right.
we don't do this, but we'd be willing to go another 5% just to make sure that your husband has like an awesome flower bed to come home to.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
All right. Let's give him a call. He's the 909 number, or she?
So it's a sheet. Yeah, it's the
All right.
909.
Let's see. I'm gonna say it says Caleb.
Hi, this is Chris.
Hey Chris, this is Caleb with Spruce Lawn Care. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
Awesome. Hey, I just wanted to give you a call. You've been on my mind a little bit. How's your husband doing?
Well, he is getting ready to go into surgery, so this may not be the time I can talk with you.
Yeah, not a problem at all. We'll make sure that we just keep him in our prayers and hopefully we can talk to you and your husband here in hopefully a few days.
Okay, please do.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a good time to be like, you know what? Flower bed cleanup.
Yeah, I think that you could definitely go off of the, like, it sounds bad, but you could definitely go off of the fact that he's in the hospital and kind of say, hey, like, we could just get it ready for you guys before he comes back and it looks great. And we could give you guys the 10-15% because, of course, we feel terrible about what happened.
For sure. And then that's also like, you can either do an amazing job in that situation and create a lifelong customer, or you can ruin that customer. It's like a very thin line in those types of moments, because if you don't come off like empathetic, they'll never do work with you again. But if you come off
Right.
like, hey, we're trying to help you with whatever you're going through, you could be like, hey, typically, we have to accept 50% deposit, but clearly you're going through a situation right now. You've been one of our loyal customers, so let's just not do that 50% deposit. We'll get your spot reserved. I would personally love for your husband to come home to an awesome flower bed have that off of his plate completely. Would Monday work or something like that? So there you could do an awesome job with that or not. Let's try to do Jason. This will be the last one. If we don't get any traction, we'll just have to call it a day. But hopefully, even if we haven't gotten a customer on a call, everything we've talked about, a few like ways to overcome, certain objections. Hopefully, you can get after it today and make a bunch of phone calls.
Yeah. So Jason, I don't think that one would work. So he came from one of our old softwares. I actually don't even have his actual phone number.
Okay.
For whatever, which is very strange. I'm gonna just send you someone else's.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna forward it to you.
Had a fruit fly in here for like 2 days. I'm about to get smacked.
Dude, same thing. I think they're just wanting to stay inside there. They don't want to be cold.
Heard that, man.
Yeah, we got the other day I saw this huge spider in our house, and I think it's like creating babies all over the place.
You got to sell the house.
Yeah. No, there was a tiny little spider in my bathroom, just up in the corner, and I saw like one day it had like an egg, and there was just little baby spiders coming out of it, bro.
No. That's
how I destroyed that crap.
I'll just haymaker a wall. Yeah. This dang fruit fly is killing me. Did you send me a new one through email?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the number too. I like the way that you talk to Chris too. Is very I don't know, very smooth, I guess you would say.
Yeah, because really what you want to do is you want to toe the line of like you're calling for a reason, but you want to build rapport or like build a common ground as fast as possible. So as unfortunate as it is her husband was in the hospital, that's something that I can use to build a common ground within 5 seconds. Hey, you've been on my mind lately. I've just been really hoping that your husband's okay. And then if your ultimate goal was to sell them a job, you might have it might be a tactic to give them a call and just see how her husband's doing. And then if she's like, he's doing, he's all right, don't even talk about the flower bed. Just be like, you've just really been on my mind. I just wanted to call and check on your husband. Can I is there anything I can do for you? Can I, bring you guys some, like a home cooked meal or something? You know what I mean? And then she's like, no, we're okay. Be like, all right, yeah. If you ever need anything, this is, you have my phone number. Feel free to give me a call. Bye. And then she'd be like, he didn't call me to sell anything. He just called to check on. Then next time you call her, I guarantee you she says yes to your flower bed. Guarantee it.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So this is Carrie.
I agree.
Same thing with the whole Thanksgiving thing?
Yes. I'm confident, yes. I think she's also a current client too.
Okay, cool. Monday is the stuff?
Yeah, so yeah, Monday's fine. She runs our mowing service too. She's one of our current clients.
Perfect. Monday. All right. Let's give Carrie a call. Does she know your voice well?
No, I think I've only talked to her once.
All right, cool.
Hello,
Hi, is this Carrie?
this is she.
Hey, Carrie, this is Caleb with Spruce Lawn Care. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I just wanted to give you a quick phone call. I know we sent that estimate or that email over to you about getting your flower beds cleaned up prior to Thanksgiving. I wanted to give you a quick phone call because we did have something open up on Monday. And with you being one of our mowing clients, I wanted to kind of give you first grabs at that. Because if we don't get that done on Monday, we wouldn't be able to get that done until after Thanksgiving. So I just wanted to give you a quick call and kind of give you first grabs at that.
All right, so I actually have not
not been able to look at the quote. Do you have it in front of you?
Yes, I have it in front of me. Would you like me to resend it, or is it okay if I just kind of talk you through it?
No, just talk me through it. I'm actually going through a layoff, and so I've got to be careful, what
Yeah,
I spend.
absolutely. I'm sorry to hear about that. I know it's definitely not a fun moment.
Nope.
But I'll tell you what, Carrie. Kind of what we can do for you, and we typically don't do this, is I'd like to help you out just because you've been a loyal customer. We could do a 10% discount for you, and kind of just do what we can to help with your current circumstance. But to talk about the quote, we had 3 total line items. The main line item, our bread and butter, would be the flower bed cleanup. And what that would entail is just we're going to trim and shape all your shrubs, get any weed and grass out of your flower bed areas, and just remove any of the dead leaves from within the flower beds. And that second line item, which I think kind of adds icing on the cake, is just putting a fresh coat of mulch on top of everything, and to keep your flower beds insulated throughout the winter months. There's a third line item on there with a monthly flower bed maintenance, but I think that's something that we can address after we do this initial cleanup.
Okay.
And so with that flower bed cleanup and then with the mulch installation, it would have been $424.90, but since we want to offer you that 10% discount, that does come down to $382.
Okay, so is it 382? Is it 382 plus tax? Is it what does it come out to exactly?
Yeah, I'll give you the post-tax amount. I just got to use my public education and figure out how to do some math really quick. So you can trust it if you want, but the math that I got was $413.95, not a penny more.
Okay, so you're saying the total is how much?
It would be $413.95, and that's after all labor, all materials, all sales tax.
Okay. All right, so is that the tree rings or just the flower bed in the front? Does it go? Because my little flower beds are there's a tiny one. It's just one plant, and then there's one on the side that's very small. But the main one. So are you talking about the whole front?
Yeah, the whole front yard. We'll get everything taken care of for you and looking great throughout the winter months.
Okay. Do you accept cash?
We don't accept cash. We do have just a card on file requirement, just to kind of make it easy for both parties. But the good thing about that is you don't have to worry about paying until after the service is complete, and so you could pay Monday afternoon as soon as we get that project completed.
Okay, do me a favor and call me in an hour because I was actually working on something, but you've got my interest.
Yeah, not a problem. We'll do, Carrie, is we'll make sure that your spot is reserved in case anybody calls. I'll fight them off for you. I'll say, no, that's Carrie's. And then we'll give you a call in an hour.
Okay, call me in an hour.
All right, will do.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go, Caleb. You got a flower bed job, my friend.
Sam, that was amazing.
This is what you got to do, man. You got to just be confident and just work with what you got. She told me right off the bat that she just got laid off. And a lot of people would be like, shoot, like she's not going to spend $400 with me. But use that to your advantage. Be like, well, I'll do a 10% discount. We normally don't do that, but with your current circumstances, we want to help you out. And we only are doing this because of your loyalty as our lawn mowing customers. And you're going to get first grabs at this appointment on Monday. And since you're probably having people over for Thanksgiving, our next one's not going to be available until after Thanksgiving. So we kind of just wanted to call Carrie specifically and give you first grabs. So
I like the humor that you put in there with the public education joke. Like you immediately you made her laugh, which is good, so you can build that rapport with that client. But also fighting off people who say it's for Carrie. Oh, that's good. That's something that I've been wanting to work on, is adding in humor. I'm always just kind of stiff, whenever I'm doing my calls, and I don't like to be like that. I want to add some humor in there. just to kind of ease them up, because when you make them laugh, they feel more comfortable
100%.
with you.
100%, and that only helps you out with future estimates too, because if you just built that rapport with her, you built trust, and she likes you, right, because you're making her laugh, and if you do a great job on Monday, every single estimate you ever send her in the future, you're already going to have an advantage on it because you've already laid that groundwork. So some people I wouldn't recommend being like playful and like trying to make them laugh, because if you just don't have, and I know you do have this, but if people that are just serious by nature, if they try to throw in some joke, I can guarantee the jokes they throw in are probably going to cross a line just because they're being awkward and they don't know like what to say. So if you have to force it, don't do it. Just be yourself. And I know that you're the kind of person that's just kind of playful and you like to joke around. So just throw it in there. I mean, you don't have to be this corporate salesman that a boss is over your shoulder following a script. You're just one person talking to another person, and if you can get them to laugh, you can get their cash. So
I like that. That's really good.
yeah, man. But I think we're gonna have to end it here. If you have one more question, I can answer that for you. But I do have to hop on another call. So if you have any other questions, I'll probably have 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. So, trying to think. I guess, yeah, I guess my main question would be, how do I overcome price complaints, price objections? What are some good ways to kind of fight that? Like, let's say we're not in 10% area. Let's say I wouldn't offer this. What would be some ways that you would say, like, hey, I just think it costs too much, but like you don't have a discount to offer?
And they're just saying that it's just too expensive.
Right,
so
right.
Thank you.
Like you've talked already, like you broke it down the entire estimate. You've told them all the benefits. You've walked them through it, and you've asked them, hey, is there anything that maybe is missing in this quote? Oh, no, it looks good. It looks good. And then you get to the prices, and then you're like, then they're like, I don't know, it's too expensive. Like,
Yeah.
how would you work through that?
I would just look at that as whenever somebody tells me it's too expensive, I know it's not too expensive. I just know it's not. So you got to figure out a way to see what really is their issue, and it probably comes down to your value. And so if they're constantly throwing out pricing as it's the objection, I would refocus your efforts on the type of value that you provide, and I would not apologize for your pricing. So if somebody is like, hey, this is just too expensive for me, be like, hey, I totally get it. And fortunately, God's blessed our company to where we have some of the best employees in the local market, and we do pay them really well. And we also use the best quality mulch that we can possibly find. And we do have insurance, so if anything goes wrong on your property, you don't got to worry about it. That's up to us and our insurance to take care of. That's something that you're not going to get from a random lawn care company. And that's kind of why our price is the way it is. So not only are you paying for this flower bed cleanup, so like not only are you paying to have your flower bed completely cleaned up and looking great for the next few months, you're also paying for peace of mind, knowing that you have the best company locally taking care of this for you, and that if anything goes wrong, we have a quality guarantee. We have insurance to cover anything. We have whatever. So you're not just paying for a flower bed cleanup. You're paying for a solution, and so that's kind of like one way to put it. You can also word it as, hey Kayla, I don't know why we keep picking on Kayla, but hey Kayla, I get it. It's I'm sure this price stood out to you as something that you weren't expecting to pay for the service, and there certainly are more affordable companies in this market. I can guarantee you that. I can also guarantee you there's more expensive companies in this market. But what you're paying for is not just a simple lawn mowing service. You're paying for somebody to properly take care of your flower bed. Now let me ask you this question, Kayla. If you were to call a company and they offered you this same estimate, but the price was $100 cheaper, but they did a poor job and you had to redo it 1 month later, would you have wished that you would have went with a company like ours? And then just shut up and let her answer it. Because now you're going to have to pay double the amount to get it fixed. So if pricing is the actual issue, what do you prefer more? Price or peace of mind? Because if a company comes in here and does a poor job, and then weeds are coming through the flower bed in 2 weeks, you're gonna feel like you wasted your money, right? She'd be like, well, yeah. And then you just say, well, what we do to make sure that that doesn't happen is X, Y, and Z, and that's why we are priced the way we are priced. Never apologize for your pricing. Always provide value. Because
that's really that's helpful, because I've never been in the sales position until now. So hearing that is really helpful. Kind of how you word that. I like that.
Yeah, and I do a lot better actually on the phone with somebody. So just trying to explain it and talk about it, I'm saying more than I need to be saying to you compared to what I would be saying to a customer. What you want to do is you want to get to your point with as few words as possible, and you want to give them like a jab to the stomach where if they don't choose you, they're stupid. And in this instance, all you're saying is, I get that our price is high, but if you don't mind, Kayla, I just have a quick question for you. If somebody were to be $100 cheaper than ours, but they did a poor job, and they would have to come back and redo their service within 2 weeks, would you be able to justify paying us our price to not have to worry about it until next summer or something like that? And then just shut up. And they're like, oh, okay. Because what they're saying is if price is the issue and they reached out to you asking for an estimate, what they're really saying is, I want this done for cheaper. And hey, you can get something done cheap, fast, or good. You can pick two out of the three, but you can't have all three. So what would you rather prefer? Cheap and fast? All right, well, it won't be good. You know what I mean? So
right.
I would just kind of go that route.
Dude, you should be like a sales trainer. Honestly,
No,
like videos on sales, like that was awesome. Because I mean, you did end up winning the challenge at Landscape Summits. You sold $7,000 worth of work in under an hour. You know, that's really impressive.
I have a weakness, and it's called, well, I have two weaknesses: being too competitive and being money motivated. So if there's a competition and there's a cash prize at the end, I didn't even eat lunch until I got to 7,000. So I was during that lunch break, and I was like, I'm not even touching food until I know this is an amount that will not be beaten. And that's not recommended. I don't know. I would just go eat food. I don't know. But I just get competitive, and it's not necessarily that I'm like a good salesman. I just feel, how would I put it?
You're just super confident. You're very smooth with your words. There's no stuttering. You're super confident. And you're able to kind of walk through any situation with ease. You know, it's kind of something that I struggle with still. I mean, I'm a pretty new into sales, but yeah, like I said, it's just super smooth, super confident. I think that's what it is. But you can also, you're able to word things on the fly and come up with things super quick and add humor in there. So it all just comes together.
Yeah.
And it's super effective.
And it's not like, that wasn't like gifted into me as a child. It's just before lawn care I was in sales, and then now I'm doing sales in lawn care. So it just comes from repetition. And the worst thing that can honestly happen is they say no.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like, what are you actually scared of? And I think it comes down to people are scared of sounding like an idiot to another person on the phone. It's like, well, sound like an idiot this whole next year. But then year 5, 10, 20, when you're building multiple hundreds of locations, you can thank this 1 year of sounding like an absolute idiot on a phone, because now you got your repetition. Now you can go in and call anybody and be confident about it. And at the end of the day, it's just another person on this other side of that phone. Even though they're going to be your customer, it's just another person. So I hope that gives you some confidence, and I hope today you can get after it and make a few phone calls. I expect a text sometime this afternoon saying I closed more than $7,000 in sales. So I'm hoping for that for you, man.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, bro. Well, I appreciate your time, dude, and I'm gonna have to hop off here. But text me.
Okay.
Text me later with how everything goes. Make sure you call Carrie in an hour. Right?
Yeah.
And then
I'll call her. Just get the card on file. You sounded pretty sold, so
yeah,
it should be good.
Yeah. And then when you get on there, tell her you had to fight off 10 different people, and one of them was an old lady, but you weren't scared because you were doing this for Carrie. And then it'll make her laugh. She'll get your card on file. And then I do expect a commission check. So, part of the gig.
All right, I'll send.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
I'll try to send it to you.
All right, man. I'll see you, bro.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam.
Yes,
See ya.
sir. Bye.